Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I am your host at JP John Paz with the two-man power trip, of course. Joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest trainers ever in the history of the business, the Doctor of Desire himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, how are you doing today, sir?
John, I'm doing great today. Thanks for asking.
What's going on in the world of the JPWA? Anything good?
Oh, well, we just had a good promo class tonight, and we got seventh week of this class going, and everybody's working hard.
Do you still have out-of-towners? Do you still have the guys from out of the country?
As a matter of fact, we do. We have
Nice.
the fellows from England just came back this week.
Oh,
They're,
nice.
yeah, so the guys who were with us last spring, uh, last year in the spring, came back and are training with us for the next couple months.
Hello, KJ. Looks like he might be smoking something there. Hello
Yes,
to the
indeed.
modern day cowboy himself, Mitch Miller. Good evening,
Yes.
Mitch. Yes. Got to start out, though, again, of course, like last week, a bit of a somber note. The passing, only 63 years old, of the legendary, the former WWF champion, the former WCW champion, should have been WWE Hall of Famer, Sid Vicious, aka Sycho Sid. What did you think when you heard about the passing of the master and the ruler of the world?
I was shocked, but I knew I heard. I didn't know. I just heard that Sid wasn't doing too good to begin with. And then he was in Charlotte, so people saw him there. But it was a bit of a shock. I didn't expect it, but
Yeah, because right, he was just at the gathering with
yeah, he was in
right.
Charlotte. So I don't know. I think he was supposed to be at the Memphis gathering on September 21st.
Yep.
But yeah, but I know he
I
was in
saw
Charlotte.
I saw he had a bunch of shows like lined up, or that he was supposed to be doing, like the big event in New York City, a bunch of different shows.
Yeah, yeah. So you just never know. Never know
I
when it's
know
going to hit you.
I know obviously he had cancer, and he's struggling with it on and off, but just surprised because you see the guy, oh, Sid looks pretty good, or he looks pretty decent right now when you see the pictures of the gathering, and all of a sudden a few weeks later he passes. It is pretty shocking.
That is shocking, but that's like I say, you just never know. We're none of us are getting any younger, so uh, yeah, it's one of those things that's going to happen to everybody.
R.I.P. Sid from Mitch. Eric Tate, R.I.P. Sid. Going to miss him a lot.
Yeah, Sid was one of those polarizing figures. You either loved him or you hated him, or you liked him or you didn't. And I great with Sid. You just had to know how to take him. And he was an intense guy, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, he's a pretty good guy.
Did you love him or you hated him? Which one?
Well, I loved him, John.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Thankfully, phew, thankfully. Dave Thornton. Good evening. R.I.P. Sid.
Well,
Looks
good
like he's got a
evening,
picture
David.
with the Mountie there.
Yeah, there's Monty.
From Scorch, Dr. Tom, there's a story about a group of wrestling fans who knocked on Sid's front door. He supposedly invited them into his home and he signed autographs. Many other wrestlers would not have done that. Have you ever heard that story?
I have not heard that story, but if that could be true, hell, I don't know.
Now, would you invite them in or would you kick them out? What would you do in that situation?
No, I wouldn't invite them in. I would sign their autographs or to whatever they had. I wouldn't invite them in.
You know,
I've
surprised.
got stuff. See, I've got stuff sent to my address, so to my home address, and uh, that's kind of weird in itself because it just is. But I wouldn't invite
Yeah.
anybody in. Yeah,
Interesting with that, though, right? because should they really be sending it to your house? And even worse, should they even really be coming to your house and asking
Right.
you to sign?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's cool, but I wouldn't have done that.
That surprised you from Sid that he's such a nice guy?
Yes and no. I mean, I could see him doing it because once you got to know Sid, he was just like a big baby. I mean, he'd get mad at things and he would pout, but at the end of the day, I think he had I think he was a kind-hearted guy. At the end of the day,
Oh yeah. Dale Mountain's got a question for you. The vignettes ahead of Sid Justice's 1991 WWF debut scared the hell out of me. I thought he was going to badly injure whoever ticked him off. I was a total mark for Sid. Well, not so much of
so
a
was a
question,
lot
but a
of people.
statement.
Yeah, so a lot of people were marked for Sid, even the boys, because he was an impressive guy, he really was.
He's one of those guys, like if you were like to draw like what a professional wrestler almost like should look like, he would almost be like that cartoony kind of like that gigantic muscle bound
He
guy
was
who
an action
yells a
figure.
lot. Yeah, he's an
Yeah,
action figure. Yeah, literally modern day or real life action figure.
action figure. Yeah, come to life. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. He was perfect for the role.
and it's funny because he would scare you, but then you would root for him. Like you wanted him to win, but you were kind of scared of him. It's like a very odd thing. But yeah, you would be scared, but
Well,
you'd mark out for him.
yeah, because he was so impressive looking, and you wanted to see this big guy kick somebody's ass. I mean, uh, yeah, he was an impressive, scary looking guy.
When you look at it too, it's like he can't be a jobber and look like that. You know what I mean? Like he just looks like a star. He has that star quality, that charisma, that it factor. He can't be anything but somewhere higher up on the card.
Yeah, it wouldn't look right to put him in an enhancement match, first match. It wouldn't look right.
Interesting thing here from ATF Media. If kickers and punters were allowed to punch the ball, do you think Ronnie Garvin would be the greatest punter kicker in NFL history? Keep in mind, he has hands of stone.
Well, Ronnie got a plaque one time from the NFL, giving him the greatest punter kicker award in NFL history, and Ronnie proudly displays that on his living room wall.
Wow.
Yeah, last
ATF,
time we had
not that far
last
off.
time we had dinner up there, I saw it. So
I
yeah,
love it.
he was one of the greatest punter kickers in NFL history, and the NFL recognized it.
Eric Tate hates losing good wrestling stars. I feel the same
Well,
way.
I ain't losing anybody. I mean, anybody that we knew or looked up to, or had great memories about. I hate losing anybody like that.
Jacques Rougeau was at the CNE. Was great meeting him. Jerry the King Lawler and Jimmy Hart are there this weekend. I guess there's a big show up there in Canada. I'm guessing. We,
Canadian Northeast. I don't know what's CNE stand for.
yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to find out, but I guess that's some sort of show going on up there. But they got Lawler and Jimmy Hart and the Mountie. I love it.
Well,
Today
great.
is the anniversary of the big event in 1986 at the CNE Grandstand.
Uh
The big
huh.
event, of course, 70,000 fans in attendance. Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. So very interesting. Crazy enough with that big event, they were expecting about 10,000 people and they got 70. So kind of
Hmm.
crazy. Kind of crazy. A little
Yeah.
off. Little off
Yeah.
back then. The
Well, I'm glad they
popularity of
were on.
Hulkamania and the popularity of that feud.
Yeah. Well, it was hot during that time, so I'm sure they were glad they were off.
From Magazine Retriever with a nice new picture there. Sid Justice's WWF interviews were intense. I thought he was going to end Hulk Hogan's career in the most brutal way imaginable. Yes, great feud.
Yeah, Hulk probably thought that too.
Huh.
But no, Sid and Hulk meshed well together. Yeah, Sid was perfect for that role.
Big monster heel that you thought would destroy and end Hulkamania. Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at it, WrestleMania 8, the main event, I know not technically a great match. It's not wasn't Piper Brett or Flair versus Savage by any stretch, but on the poster, if you will, if you go two big names, it looks great. It's a WrestleMania main event. Hogan Sid, WrestleMania 8, can't take it away from him.
Yeah, it's just like Hogan Andre, I mean, they're just that it had that buzz to it.
Barbara is back. Did the WWE give the key? Did WWE give him the keys to the kingdom? Hulk Hogan's spot, and did he turn it down?
No, I don't think Sid turned it down. I think Sid just wanted to play softball and wanted to do his own thing. So he'd wrestle when he wanted to, and then take the rest of the time off. I think that was. I don't know for a fact, but that's what I'm assuming uh, the conditions were.
Think about it too. Vince thought he was the next Hogan and was going to like put him in that direction. Obviously, he ends up getting fired after WrestleMania 8. A lot of different things happened, a lot of different
Yeah,
things changed, and he ended up not being the guy, so to speak. Eventually, he'll go and win the title a few times, but at that point in time, 1992, around WrestleMania 8, he was not. Even though Vince apparently was praising him and saying he was the next Hogan, he's the next guy. He's got all the charisma in the world.
well, and I think he could have been if he had his head on straight, or if he had
Yeah.
his head where it needed to be. But I think he just had other priorities and wasn't going to get bogged down, or didn't want to get bogged down.
When you look at Sid at that time, obviously wasn't maybe mature enough to handle it. He was kind of new to the business, so kind of new, but not really. But maybe couldn't handle it. Vince didn't have the greatest track record for saying guys are going to be the next Hogan, though. Remember Tom McGee? He was saying Tom McGee was
Yeah,
going to be the next Hogan.
yeah.
So
But Sid Vicious was no Tom McGee.
no, no, way
Sure.
more charisma,
Yeah,
way bigger,
yeah, yeah,
way not as
yeah,
athletic, but way better. Yeah.
yeah.
Looking back, how impressive were the skyscrapers?
When you had those two big guys together, they were very impressive, and they didn't have to be technical wrestling wizards. They just had to look big and bad, kick ass.
Have you ever seen the um, squash match? I forget his name. He had a funny nickname. Sid and Spivey versus these two jobbers, and one of the jobbers wasn't enhancement talent,
Yeah,
if you will. He wasn't going along. They beat the living hell out of him.
yeah. I've seen that one. Sure have. I
There's another
heard when
group.
he got back. Yeah, when he got back, they asked him what was going on. He got his stuff and left.
Yep. But hey, come on, you don't do that to Sid and Spivey. You don't try to no sell.
Not if you don't want to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, yeah. There's another one, Sid against Lee Scott, but obviously they had talked previously, and he Sid's like, I'm just going to throw you around, airplane spins, all this stuff, and he kills the guy. Obviously, the guy was okay with it, but man, it just looked awesome. Him just one of the greatest squash matches. If you just look at move for move of him just throwing him on the outside of the ring, giving him the whirly bird, giving him the choke slam, giving him the power, just destroying the guy was awesome.
Yeah, I mean Sid knew how to move as a big man, so he yeah, he was beyond his time,
Hello,
before his time.
Jason. Yes, hello, Jason. Dave Thornton says yes. Toronto Canadian National Exhibition (CNE).
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Frank Nordquist, Dr. Tom, a topic of some debate was Sid Udi's true height was billed at 6'9", and I think he was at least 6'7" peak. What would you say? How tall do you think Sycho Sid was?
Oh man, I think Sid was at least 6'5", 6'6". What'd they bill him at?
6'9".
Oh, 6'9". Yeah, he very well could have been 6'9". He was a pretty tall guy.
I always felt like him and Undertaker looked eye to eye, but it was funny. They would say he was 6'9" and Undertaker was 6'10", but they were basically eye to eye. You know what I mean? They're very
Well,
similar height. And obviously Sid's taller than Hogan, so he's looking down on him. So yeah, Sid is he's I'd say 6'9", I would think.
yeah, Ernie Ladd, I think, was a true 7 foot. And
The only few
Andre,
guys that they actually for some reason don't say are that tall, but are tall, like Billy Gunn, Mick
right?
Foley, for some reason they never said they were that tall, but they were. I mean, they're both like 6'4" at least.
Yeah, I think Mick was at least 6'2", 6'3", something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, Billy's probably 6'4" ish. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
It,
yeah, Billy's a big guy.
they should just said Sid was 7 foot. That would have been I would have been okay with that.
Well, yeah, but you had Andre and all the giants before that. And I think Andre was really 6'9". And they built Andre at 7'4". I don't know if they wanted any more 7 foot guys at that time. Maybe they did. Hell, I don't know.
Doug Myers. Hi, Dr. Tom. I was always a big fan of yours.
Well, thank you, Doug. You do know about the big Memphis thing happened on the 21st, right?
The Hall of Fame? The big Hall of Fame
Yes,
thing?
yes. It's supposed to be a big reunion with everybody that came through Memphis, or anybody who they could get in touch with that came through Memphis, so we can plug that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
September 21st. Hall of Fame bound for you and PG-13 as well.
yeah, yeah. So it should be a pretty good time. And I think yes, Jerry Lawler did come up with Lord Humongous. I think did he?
It's possible. The Lord Humongous gimmick. Did Jerry Lawler? It's definitely possible. Started in Memphis. He came up with a lot of those gimmicks.
Yeah, sounds like a Lawler gimmick.
Bozo the Clown. Hello, John and Dr. Tom. Is Ray Apollo and Mike McGurk Hall of Fame material? What do you think about that?
Um, well, Ray Apollo took over when Matt passed away, or Matt left. Matt got fired. So, and Mike McGurk. Well, yeah, they're Hall of Fame material somewhere. I don't know if WWE would recognize them as Hall of Fame material, but I think if I'm in the Hall of Fame anywhere, they should definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
Many wrestlers didn't want to wrestle Sid because he would hurt his opponent, says Louis Pellerizzi. Is this true or false, Dr. Tom? Did he hurt his opponents?
Well, I'm sure he hurt a few guys, because he went out there and he was physical. But I don't know how many guys he actually did hurt, and I don't know if that's true or not. But could be.
Magazine Retriever saying, according to Sid, he left the WWF in 1992 because he didn't want a job to the Ultimate Warrior. Sid should have stayed because Warrior was actually eventually fired a few months later as well. Man, 92 is crazy because they had all these plans. Hogan's going to be gone, right? He's going to be filming movies, he's going to be doing other stuff. He's taking time away from wrestling, doing commercials and everything else. Sid is going to be there. Warrior obviously made his grand return. He's going to be a headliner. Boom. A few weeks later, a few months down the road, Warrior's gone. Well, Warrior would be months later, but still, Warrior would be gone and Sid's gone. So crazy how 92 worked out.
Yeah, and there's no way Sid could have known that Warrior would have been gone at the same time too, because if they wanted a job to Warrior and Sid didn't want to, that wouldn't be good for Sid if he did leave and do the job. So he didn't know, and nobody knew Warrior was going to be fired a few months later.
Dr. Tom, Sid was uncomfortable with the idea of performing the stunt that led to the gruesome leg injury, and he sued WCW. Do you remember this? Did you see this WCW Sin pay-per-view where he basically breaks his leg in half doing a crazy maneuver?
I've seen him coming off the ropes and he broke his leg. It was awesome. Not awesome. It was gruesome. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, it was gruesome.
That was pretty damn gross. And obviously, the story goes Johnny Ace told him instead of just doing the kick, which obviously he used to always do, to come off the second rope and do it. And Sid didn't want to do it. And he said he'd do it, it would look great, or whatever the hell Johnny Ace thought. And obviously, he came down and he broke his leg. So,
Yeah.
man, just,
Well, I guess John got heat for that.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Are you still thinking Johnny Ace is the man after that? Because now, to me, he kind of goes down a little bit in the pecking order of the great agents and greatest of all time as far as behind the scenes are concerned. That was a pretty dumb spot for him to tell a wrestler to do. I mean, there's chances of injuries are pretty high, especially for a guy Sid's size.
Well, yeah, but Johnny wanted it that way, so there you go.
You still love him, huh? You still love Johnny Ace. All right.
Hey, man, did you lose that?
Oh, oh. From Frank Nordquist, Sid debuted in the WWE at the height of the Fed's steroid investigation. So I think that his physique had to be natural. He never tested positive for PEDs during that time. What do you think? Was he natural or was Juicer? What do you think about Sid?
I don't know, man. I mean, he was a freak of nature, but I don't know what he did. I mean, if he using any PEDs or not.
He was definitely a freak of nature. Looked great. Yeah, never heard of him being a steroid guy or getting caught with steroids. You heard obviously you heard Warrior and Bulldog and all these other guys, but never heard of anything about Sid getting in trouble with that stuff.
No, but he worked out hard in the gym. He really did.
The massive
So
guy. He's a
yeah,
big
he's a
dude.
massive guy. Yeah, massive, huge guy.
But
So
hey, Thomas Crown is saying virtually zero chance that he was natural with that size and build. So Thomas Crown is saying no. He's saying he was on something.
well, unless you were there and unless you saw it, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can swear to it. It's all hearsay.
Thomas, were you there? Did you inject him? You had got to give us answers. Come on, we need to know. Louis Baby is saying I saw it in a documentary. He would give the mega boom, and it was painful. So maybe Sid would give the big power bomb, if you will, and maybe
Uh,
hurt some guys. Choke slam, maybe.
Maybe, could be. I mean, I don't think I ever worked with Sid. Don't think I did, but there's a
You
chance.
wrestled it, believe it or not. You wrestled him once in 1998 for PPW down there in Memphis, Tennessee. He
I
he beat
did.
you. He beat you at the Mid South Coliseum. Yes.
Well, that must have been the only time I worked with Sid.
Really, that's it. Just one time. It's the only time I could find.
Yeah, it's probably the only time.
Man,
So
Power Pro. That's interesting. Like they got Sid in '98. He's not wrestling. He's not wrestling for WCW or WWF in '98, but he's in Memphis wrestling, having some
right,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
Did he save his money well? It seemed like he was one of those guys that didn't necessarily need the business. Maybe he saved and wasn't crazy spender like a
I,
Flair or whoever.
I mean, I don't know, but I would suspect that he did because he was a smart guy and he made money. So I'm sure he put it away. I would think anyway.
Which is cornier? This is from ATF. Santa with muscles or the AWA Wrestle Rock Rumble promo?
Wow,
Hmm.
I have seen neither.
Oh, okay. The Wrestle Rock promo is pretty damn corny, kind of as you would expect. Santa with muscles.
Who was on the Wrestle Rock promo?
All the AWA guys like Greg Gagne. Damn, I don't even remember. I just remember I saw it not that long ago. I think Greg might have posted it, but it was just not good. Super corny, just like 80s nonsense. Almost like the Chicago Bears style, but the Super Bowl shuffle, although that was
Ah,
probably better. Or the WWF, Vince McMahon, stand back, something in that vein, but it was not good. It was a bit corny. I got to say, Santa with Muscles, not that bad. I got to be honest. I didn't mind that movie.
it wasn't that bad.
I didn't think so, but hey,
I've never seen it.
I would go out of your way to see it. R.I.P. Sid.
Yeah.
How's Dr. Tom doing? Dr. Tom, how you doing physically? How's everything going?
Everything's going great.
Do you have a passport where you can go to Canada, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you can go to Canada. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Terry Matsubayashi. Awesome name there. Jeez Louise, what a great name. The Skyscrapers versus Jobbers was as entertaining as the APA versus Public Enemy. Good memories. Do you remember that match in WWF?
The skyscrapers or APA versus Public Enemy. Yeah, I
APA
remember that.
versus Public Enemy, where they stiffed them.
Yeah, I remember that one. Sure do.
What was the point? What was going on? Why the heat there? What happened?
They didn't want to do what the APA wanted them to do, and they had a match, and they didn't want to do the spots. So Ron and John just went out and did the spots anyway.
Without cooperation, I love that.
Yeah, it's not cooperation.
Obviously, Public Enemy weren't long for the WWF after that. They didn't last too long, so
Right.
can't piss off the big boys like that.
No, doesn't do you any good.
Louis Baby says it is sad that Vince couldn't put his ego aside and induct him in the Hall of Fame when he was alive. What do you think about that? Why the hell wasn't Sid in the Hall of Fame? Seems nuts.
I don't know, but I think Sid certainly would have been there one day, and maybe it was just the timing. I don't know. I really don't understand why they wouldn't have inducted him in the Hall of Fame. Maybe
He
Sid
even
didn't want to go in.
no, he put a tweet out not that long ago.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, saying
Okay.
that he wanted to go in, and there was a rumor a couple years ago he was supposed to go in, and it didn't happen. Just
Huh.
crazy.
Well, yeah, maybe it was just timing deal then.
Multiple time WWF champion, WCW champion, um, WrestleMania headliner 2 times over, Starcade headliner. I mean, he's done it all in the business, so he definitely deserved to be in. It does seem crazy that he wasn't in and Vader wasn't in when he was alive. It just seemed weird. Like, I don't know. Hopefully, Triple H can right some of these wrongs here with some of these guys that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Would you have put Sid in the Hall of Fame, like before Kane or before? Not saying Kane specifically, but like the modern day guys. His time period is a little bit before that. Wouldn't you put him in first and then put in the other guys?
Sure. Sid deserved to be there a long time ago.
Barbara's
Like you
got a
said, he'd done everything in the business.
Barbara's got a great point here. Do you remember Sid's comments when Shockmaster fell through the wall?
No, what'd he say?
Basically, kind of like laughing at him almost, but I believe Sid had said that he knew that was going to happen.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't hear I didn't hear his comments.
And he basically, when he crashed through the wall, it's supposed to be a surprise. Sid's supposed to be scared. He's basically laughing. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? But he was, laughing. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't the only one laughing.
Oh, that's true. Everybody else was as well. What a memorable moment. Dell says Sid said that he thoroughly enjoyed working with Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader. He thought he had his best in-ring chemistry with those two guys. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he has a point. Bigelow was a great big man to work with, and so was Vader. So, yeah, I could see that. All three of those guys were hard hitting guys.
Sid and Vader definitely had some good chemistry. You always hear about some WWF house show matches that they had together that they kind of went all out for in the mid 90s. So that's something, if you were at those shows, you probably enjoyed the hell out of that. Sid versus Vader, two monsters clashing. And obviously, two guys that are not going to tiptoe around. They're not going to be playing ballet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, none of those guys. I mean, all those guys were big badasses, and they knew that they had to lay it in. So all three of those guys were hard hitting.
Dr. Tom, speaking of Sid, whenever an established WCW wrestler arrived in the WWF, they often lasted for less than a year before returning to WCW. Why do you think that was the case with so many WCW guys?
I think that the management was different, the system was different, and the, the South probably offered more money. WCW probably offered more money, and they knew they could get it down there. That's my opinion. That's what I think.
Think about it. Sid, right? He goes to WWF from WCW, ends up back there in '93. The British Bulldog ends up back there, leaves basically '93, comes back in '94. Jim the Anvil Neidhart showed up there for a little bit. He goes back. I mean, it just felt like I know that's kind of the nature of the business, but it does feel like a lot of that would happen where the WCW guys would go there and they end up back in WWF, or the WCW guy would go to WWF, they end up back in WCW. It just seemed like it worked
Yeah,
that way. Sid was like back and forth, back. He mean Sid was back and forth a few times.
right. And I think that just has to do with the money that was offered. WCW is probably a little bit more gracious in payoffs. I mean, I can only assume that, but I think that's the reason. And then when WCW ran out, they came back WWE.
Here we go. Much bigger travesty that Dr. Tom isn't in the WWE Hall of Fame. You agree?
No,
Oh,
I think I'm
geez.
I think I'm okay. I'm in one Hall of Fame right now, the Trago Says Hall of Fame. How's that?
Going to be in two in a few weeks.
Yep,
The
Memphis
Memphis
Hall of
Hall of
Fame.
Fame.
hmm
I think Sid was a better heel than a face. What do you think about that? Heel or
I
face?
think Sid was a great heel. I think he was. Yeah, actually, I think no matter what he was going to be, he was just Sid, and I think that big, loud, obnoxious uh, persona dictated that he might be a heel. But if he was just against somebody that the fans hated worse than Sid, then he'd be a babyface. He wouldn't have to really change his demeanor. Even though that big rough style or that big rugged yelling, screaming, psycho Sid persona can be perceived as a heel or a babyface.
Feel like he was so popular, like irregardless whether he was heel or face, the fans always were into him. He was always super over. Survivor Series 1996, he's supposed to be the heel versus Shawn Michaels. The crowd completely turns. It's like 100-0, basically. Completely turns. They wanted Sid to win the title. He even cheats, uses the camera, beats up Jose Lothario to get heel heat. Still doesn't work.
Mm.
Cheats. And the crowd goes nuts for Sid's win. I mean, I was there live and I was rooting for Sid as well. I think pretty much the rest of the audience was with me, and you could tell when you listened to the match. They were loving Sid. They're hating Shawn Michaels. Michaels actually at one point spit on somebody in the crowd. He got so upset that they were booing him like crazy.
Wait, this
Typical
was San
crybaby, you know.
Antonio?
No, this is Madison Square Garden here.
That's okay, Garden. Yeah, all right.
Survivor Series 96. Yeah, the rematch Royal Rumble 97. Michaels wins is in San
Yeah.
Antonio. Better reception for Michaels there, of course,
Right.
in his hometown. But man, at Survivor Series in New York City, they did not like babyface Shawn Michaels one bit. They loved Sid. He's a heel, and he's given everybody the thing he invented, by the way, the fist bump. He's giving it to everybody. They loved him in New York City, and they could care less if he was cheating to win or not. They wanted him as a baby face. Well, in their eyes, but they wanted him as world champ.
Yeah, I can understand that. I sure can. I can see Sid being over like Rover too. Big
Oh,
guy, good sized guy. Looked the part, was the part.
Tommy Boy. I suspect that he'll get in at some point. While he sometimes is viewed as a guy who didn't quite live up to his potential, he absolutely made a big impact in both major promotions from 1989 onward. Yes, I totally agree. Do you feel like he didn't live up to the potential of, maybe being the next guy in the business, the next Hogan, if you will?
Um, uh, I don't know if it was living up to the potential or just being at the right place at the right time. Um, again, my take is that Sid didn't want to be controlled, and he didn't want to have to do something that he didn't want to do. So if he wanted to take time off to play softball, that's what he was going to do. And I just think that that might have hurt him in the eyes of uh, somebody looking at him as their next guy, because they'll know he wants to play. He wants to go off on a whim and play softball or do whatever it is he wants to do. So I think just being at the right place at the right time had its ups and downs for Sid, because he'd be in the right place at the right time. Then he decided he wanted to leave. So that's my take on it. I mean,
Thing is,
he certainly had all the potential in the world, and when you say viewed as a guy who quite didn't live up to that potential, he did get the titles
yeah.
in WCW and WWE, so he couldn't go any much higher than that. So I just think he didn't want to be controlled.
Thing is, too, that's kind of funny that people always say, like, he played softball. I know JR kind of made a joke about it, then it kind of blew up forever that, oh, he wanted to go play softball. So that's like the thing, softball, softball. But I'm also hearing and I've always heard he's a bit of a family guy. So it's not like he's going
Right.
and he's just playing softball. He wanted to be home with his family. Sure, he'll play softball when he's there, but it was much more about family than softball. I guess it's just funnier to say he's playing softball, or he rather play softball rather than be like, oh, this guy's he's a good family man. You know what I mean? I guess it's funnier
No,
to some people
no,
that way.
yeah. I mean, that could be a lot of sarcasm when people say that, but yeah, I can understand him wanting to be a family man and be home more, not want to travel as much. I totally understand that.
Was he the master and ruler of the world? Do you agree with that?
Well, he wasn't the master and ruler of my world.
Who's the
Uh,
man? Remember, he used to say, "Who's the man?" That was great.
well, sure, sure.
Larger than life. Yes, the epitome of it. Really, if you look at wrestlers, he's one of those guys.
Yeah,
Mitch says he saw Vader versus Sid and Sid versus Razor at house shows at 95 and 96. Wow, what a treat. That's awesome.
yeah, I bet they had great matches.
I love that. King of Kingsport himself, Mr. Bo James. See Dr. Tom at Southern States Wrestling events next Wednesday. Coffee County Fair. Is that true? Is that right? Coffee County Fair, Manchester, Tennessee. Saturday, September 28th at Mount Carmel, Tennessee, at the Armed Forces Center. Are these accurate? Are these actually true?
These are actual true events that are going to take place next Wednesday at the Coffee County Fair in Manchester, Tennessee, and then Saturday, September 28th, we're doing our graduation at Mount Carmel at the Armed Forces
Oh,
Center. Yeah,
nice. Nice. Coffee County Fair. Interesting. Never heard of it, but I love it. I love that the Southern States Wrestling is going to be there.
well, now how
Did
would you have heard of it? You know
Bo?
nothing about it. You know nothing about Coffee County Fair. So how could you have heard of it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I thought maybe
That's
Bo
stupid.
would be all over that promoting. That
Well, he
getting.
is. What do you think he's doing there?
Oh, right. All right. True.
Okay.
Did you watch him on Briscoe and Patterson? Uh,
Yeah, Briscoe and
Briscoe and
Patterson.
Briscoe and Bradshaw.
Briscoe and Patterson.
I'm thinking about the
The
Stooges. Oh
hell
my
is I
God.
know what you're thinking about.
Thinking about the Stooges. Yeah. Briscoe
Yeah,
and Bradshaw.
yeah, I saw him. Thought he did
Good
a
or
great
no?
job. Yeah, very good.
Oh, okay.
You need to
Uh,
you need to listen to it. Go back and
I know.
watch it.
I know. I love those two guys. Scorch. In the early 1990s, Sid tried to use his pull in the WWF to get Billy Jack Haynes hired for an angle. Ultimately, Vince passed on signing Billy Jack, but it was a nice gesture on Sid's part. Are you aware of
Yeah,
this?
I was not aware of this, but I know Sid got Bruno his job. That's why downtown Bruno got his gig was with
Yep.
Sid. So and Bruno's still there to this day.
I love that they would both. I don't know, maybe Bruno took it from Sid or Sid took it from him, but they both say that great line. Mama says it bees that way sometimes. Such a great line.
Well, I think they both could share it.
Stevie Smalls. Sid's run in early 1997 was super underrated. I also think of him being mentioned during the HBK Lose My Smile speech. Classic.
Oh, I didn't know Sid was mentioned in Sean's Lost My Smile speech.
Do you think that that run was great? Because I love that run because it's like he's there, right? Technically, Vader was supposed to win the title. Never happened, obviously, because Michaels and politics, and Vader did get hurt at 1.2, but obviously politics played a role. But it was almost like Vader should have won the title, but it was great that Sid got to win it because he got an awesome reaction at Survivor Series 96. Great match. Good match at Royal Rumble 97. Obviously, it sold well there. But Michaels loses a smile, so Sid's got to beat Brett and win the title back after Brett wins the final four. So it's like he's champion a few times right there in WWF in the thick of it when they're really trying to push towards WrestleMania, and then he's in the WrestleMania main event against Undertaker. So I love Sid's run in '97. I wish it was lasting longer. I know he had a little bit of an injury and went home for a bit, but that was kind of yeah, like he's saying, super underrated. Yeah, I agree with Stevie Smalls here.
Yeah, me too. I think so. I think Sid did a lot that people forget about too sometimes. So, but yeah, I think it was in early 1997. I think he was super underrated.
Did Flair lie to him and he got tricked into putting Sting over? I saw that match in Chicago at the UIC Pavilion.
I don't know if Flair lied to him or not. I don't know what Rick told him.
Do you guys think the WWE Today talent is weak compared to the era of Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker? What do you think?
I don't know if it's weak. It's definitely different. It's a different style. It's a different vibe, but they're doing very well. People are obviously enjoying it. It's just the era of Rock, Hogan, and Undertaker is just different.
I don't know if you can ever compare eras like that. I don't know, like Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold specifically, like game changer, completely changed the business. Maybe Mount Rushmore guys, maybe the most over guys ever. But today, it just feels like there are a lot of guys that are really, really over at top of their game. I mean, Cody, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton's still around. AJ
Yeah,
Styles is great. I mean, there's just, I think you're right. It's just different, but they do have a lot of top guys today that are drawing really, really well. I don't know if people
right.
are noticing or not, but I mean they're making more money than ever and selling out a ton of buildings.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a different vibe, and yeah, I don't know if there is any comparison.
Who was the second best James Bond behind Roger Moore?
Oh, behind Roger Moore.
How do you like that
Sean,
random question out of nowhere? How do
I
you like
like well,
that?
I like Sean Connery. And that was before Roger Moore.
I got to be honest. I love Daniel Craig as James Bond. I really do love those movies. I
Well,
thought he killed it. I thought he'd be great.
well, good for him then.
Uh-oh. Mitch is going to bring up a point, and you're not going to be happy about it, but it must be said. Zip versus Leaf Cassidy was also on one of those cars that he saw the house show at.
Well,
Ouch.
that sounds about right.
Sounds like two great workers with two great gimmicks. That's what it sounds like to me.
Are you what are you been smoking tonight?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe it's opposite day right now because Zip and Leaf Cassidy were not your best work, you and Al.
No, I don't think we did our best work as Zip and Leaf Cassidy.
Charles Roberts, his dad's hometown, Manchester, Tennessee.
Well, that's where I'll be next Wednesday.
I wonder if his father is Jake the Snake.
Doesn't
Nah,
look
he's
like
from
it.
Stone Mountain, Georgia. Can't be. Can't
Yeah,
be.
right.
Great point here by Bo. Very much a family man. Obviously referring to Sid. He loved his family. Jerry Lawler played more softball than Sid. What do you think about that statement?
Well, Lawler did play more softball than Sid, no doubt. Lawler played more softball than anybody, I think.
I always loved that. Like Sid, he doesn't want to be the WrestleMania main event. He'd rather play softball. No, he's going to get paid and then probably take some of the summer off. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
gonna do it smartly. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Thomas says, why wouldn't you build up those build up two with a big pay-per-view match and really draw some money with them together.
Who are we talking about now? Sid and Vader, or who?
Sid and Vader, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll have to get back to Thomas, but that was great. I really feel like Sid and Vader should have been on it. I know they were on a pay-per-view together, but like a main event or like a bigger show together for sure. Frank says he always enjoyed watching Sid's shoot interviews.
I have yet to see Sid's shoot interviews, so
I have interviewed him for. He's pretty forthright. He's pretty honest. He'd pretty give you a good answer for sure.
good.
Bo, yes, everyone needs to see Briscoe and Bradshaw's episode with me talking about East Tennessee wrestling wars. Definitely check that out.
Well, I did check it out.
I'm pretty sure that Tom was on the first wrestling card that I ever attended, the Continental at the Lavender Coliseum in Columbus, Mississippi.
Well, I have wrestled in the Lavender Coliseum in Columbus many, many times, so it's a good chance. Good chance I was.
Larry L., a.k.a. Larry Legend, who would have won in a match between Sid Justice and the Ultimate Warrior?
I'd like to think Sid Justice would, but I have a feeling the Warriors slip over.
Yeah. I feel like Warrior's going over, but Sid should have went over, like that kind of deal.
Right.
Dr. Tom, in a recent photo, Brock Lesnar seems to have lost a considerable amount of weight. I wonder what prompted the weight loss. What do you think about that? He's just been working out more? What's going on with Brock? And did you see this picture?
I have not seen the picture, but it sounds like maybe he's working out and just wants to drop some weight, see what he can do. Maybe get shredded up.
Is that a sign that he's done with wrestling, though?
I don't know. I mean, he might just be bored and want something to do. Get on a diet, shred up, and get in shape.
Louis wants both of us to give your best 5 wrestlers of all time. Who's your top 5 of all time?
I'm going to go with Terry Funk, Rock, Austin. Wow. Harley, Briscoe.
Nice. Okay. Interesting. I'll go because you got to talk Hulk. I mean, we got to go Hulk Hogan, Rock, Austin, Flair, and then who 5th? I'll go Bret Hart. I'll go Bret the Hitman. Your buddy.
That works. That works.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Hackenschmidt, Gotch, Londos, Gorgeous George, Thez, or something like that. That's what I thought you were going to say. But all right.
Why would I say something like that?
You like all those old school guys, all those old timers.
I do, but I don't think they're the best of all time.
Steve Vendetta. Tom, who came up with the name Zip and why, aside from the fact that it rhymes with skip? Do you have any other monikers in mind for that gimmick? Maybe better ones that got turned down. What do you think about that?
Well, I was offered a gig and I took the gig, and we came up with some names that were already copyrighted and they needed a name, so we came up with a name. And I still thought up until the time we cut my hair that I could just get out of it. So that's about as much thought as I put into the gimmick, and I knew it was failed and doomed from the first day we did it. So
was it literally like they got to find something that rhymes with skip? That's like bottom line. What would it had to be? Like
yeah, they just needed something. Yeah, they just needed a name and everything else. I think we were trying to flip or something. I don't know. It was a horrible, ill-conceived gimmick. Terrible conceived. It was drizzling shits. So the less time I have to think about it or put time into it, the better.
So you didn't even think of names. You know, sometimes guys today will think of names so they can almost kind of pick their own name.
No, we thought of names. We thought of names, but they didn't take any of them. They came up with that. I said, fine, because I could care less.
Do you remember what any of the ones that got turned down were?
Flip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Something you rarely did in the ring, by the way. You rarely did flips. So
you're pretty observant, man. Did you watch wrestling for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
a little. Imagine that flip and skip. The new buddy Donuts. Yeah, kind of a
So,
weird.
so as I said, the less time I spent on this gimmick, the better it was.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you ever tell them like, hey, you guys know I worked here as the heavenly bodies, right? Like, can we be the heavenly bodies? Like, did you ever mention that to them?
No, the
Like,
heavenly
have
bodies were
Candido
good.
be
No,
yeah, but have
no,
the Candido play.
no, no. It was no. That was a chaotic time. So
Well,
there.
Vince, for as much of a genius, sometimes
I don't think
not.
Vince put a whole lot of thought into anything that had to do with the body dominance.
Hmm.
That's real funny.
Lou says nice picks for the wrestlers.
Sure.
Didn't Dr. Tom give Zip a Viking funeral and say he didn't want to talk about it anymore?
Well, yes, Barbara, I did. Thank you.
True, true. We got it.
Yeah.
Steve Vendetta had a great question though, so that was great on his part. But as far as Sid, just you know, recapping it and putting it all nice little button on it and sewing it up. Give me the legacy of Sycho Sid.
The ultimate professional wrestler. I have to say it. He was what a professional wrestler should look like, and embodied that spirit of what a professional wrestler should be.
People today, they love saying aura for some reason. They're obsessed with it. These kids online, they're all obsessed with saying aura. You look up aura in the dictionary, there's a picture of Sycho Sid, man. He was the king of aura, the a charismatic king, if you will. He just had it all, the look, the promos. Even when he was being nuts, being psycho, his promos were awesome. It just fit his character. He was perfect wrestler.
Well, that was him.
Yep.
Yeah.
One last question here. Can you believe that Bo and Luke Duke didn't have more front tie rod issues on the General Lee after all those jumps? Do you agree with that?
I can believe it. Yeah, sure can.
ATF's got some great random questions. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
No,
Long
I haven't
live.
noticed.
You haven't noticed. Okay. Long live the master and the ruler of the world, R.I.P. Sid. Yes. So let's head towards the plugs. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Two Man Power. You can follow Dr. Tom at Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, where can everybody get your book?
Well, you can go to jpwrestlingacademy.com and click on the training schedule, and it'll take you to a page that you can order the book on Amazon. That's jpwrestlingacademy.com.
Signature on the book? Where can they get that?
Then go to jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com and ask for a autographed copy.
Of course, got to mention NWA 76, which is coming up on Saturday at the ECW, formerly ECW Arena, now the 2300 Arena, with EC3 versus Tom Latimer, champion versus champion, world champion versus national champion, Kenzie Page versus Max the Impaler, champion versus champion, which of course the TV and women's champion versus the world champion. And maybe the match you're looking forward to the most, Silas Mason against Colby Carino. So big stuff, NWA 76 on Saturday coming up at the 2300 Arena.
Yeah, we're leaving Friday and get a Philly cheesesteak and
Nice.
chill out before the show.
Nice. Love it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you right back here next week for a little Take You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. We'll see you next week, folks.